Hello and welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures Daily Dose of Nature. I'm your host, Kendall Bauer. Today's topic is Discover the Wonderful Wildlife of Nepal, presented by NatHab Expedition Leader Arpita Dutta. Thank you so much for being here today, Arpita. I'm going to hand it off to you.
Thank you so much, Kendall. And thank you everyone for tuning in today. And it's not only like we are talking about our trips, whatever is happening out. I'm so glad that NHA do a lot of trips around the world. And it's been amazing to bring all the animals all together. And whenever I just watch other webinars, I feel more tempted to be a part of that trip because it's that amazing. But as we because in every country, I believe that wherever we go, it's much more bigger than what we see. And sometimes it is very difficult to accumulate everything and know that, okay, this country has that much of animals. I mean, for an example, India has more than 300 mammals only. Like if I have to talk about, so of course, even I couldn't see most of it. I think I don't even know that I have reached 200 or not. So being such a small country sandwiched between India and China, like Nepal have this incredible wildlife diversity, and I think it's because of the formation of Nepal. I mean, how the landmass formed. It has a varied ecosystem and has different climatic condition which actually make too many animals their home. And it has, like, see this, like it's from the Terai land to this Mount Everest, like we have this roof of this world. So of course imagine the elevation it has. So altogether it has so many different habitat. I'll just give you a little gist about the habitat so that you get an idea of the country. And so it has, like, from the tropical savannas in the Terai region, which is here where my cursor is moving, and to that the subtropical temperate region, which is this area, and then the forest, and the temperate forest and the alpine meadows. Alpine meadows is more towards the foothills of the Himalayas. And it's it's like from elevation of this country is from 59 meter to 8,848 meter. What a drastic, like, variation it has. And over there, look at this elevation line out here. These are the snow peaks, and the color you see here are the highest part, and the blue are the lowest part of the country, like lowest elevation of the country. And with that, not only with the elevation, and I think because the whole Himalayan range is there, and the Mount Everest, and there are a few highest peaks are there, and they have many glacial fed river, which are the perennial rivers, and there are four major rivers. That's fine. It's a country, it's a small country, but can have four major rivers. But let me tell you, Nepal has near about 6,000 rivulets, streams, and tributaries. Isn't that wonderful? Like, it's incredible to think that how much water source that little country has. And with that, there are some key habitats, which is the Terai region, which I showed, the Himalayan foothills. It's just right down where the mountain is landscaping with the flat, not with the flat land, but with the Terai land. And then the Himalayan mountains, of course, which is the higher elevation area, which is more than 6,000 meter. And then the riverine and the wetland ecosystem, it is very rich. Of course, when a country has 6,000 like water source, and there are a lot of wetlands, a wetland ecosystem, of course, and we know that wetland is so important for a very diverse and rich ecosystem. That's a proof that it has. And then the cultural landscape, actually it's not about the culture, but it's about the agricultural landscape, that how people are using those landscapes. So that makes also a different types of habitat for the animals as well. And then the conservation areas and national parks. So national parks and reserve forest are the protected areas where we go, where we are permitted to go. We have to take permission to be there. And the conservation areas are those which are like, which where the not only the wildlife, the habitat, but also the people, the tribal people out there are also getting like getting conservation. So in all these type of, these are the key habitats, so all these type of habitats together give Nepal like 12 national parks. And these are like designated for conservation of the ecosystem and habitat, and one wildlife reserve, six conservation areas. So, and Nepal like forest cover approx 45% of the total land area, and most of the places are inaccessible, of course, because of the high mountain. And the biological resources in these lowland areas are dominated by the tropical evergreen forest and tropical deciduous forest. So these are the area where all the protected areas are there. Sorry, the light greens are all the national parks, and there are a few more smalls here and there. And uh, and there is also a hunting reserve where it has been like legally you can hunt, but of course it has been observed, or it has been taken care by the government, restricted hunting, like when there are no predators around. So you need to control the population, because there are a lot of grasslands, as well as I was talking about the cultural landscape. So it can be a threat to that because of the tribal area, because they are living there, even they are as important as the wildlife for these kind of areas. So yeah, there is one hunting reserve as well. And there are 14 buffer zones. Okay, what is the buffer zone? When we talk about is when there is a passage or a space between the human habitat and the core area. In between, you see these yellow lines out there, so these are the buffer zone. So people can leave outside the buffer zone, but they, people who are staying, like the local community, can take anything from the buffer zone. Like sometimes they take plant saplings, because they are the people who have been living with the forest for ages. So you cannot suddenly remove the whole entire population from that area. So kind of this they kind of shared the land together. And for the core and buffer, this is an administrative like separation. But for the animals, they really don't know what is core and buffer, so for them it's a whole forest. And the buffer zone of Nepal, all mostly all. And if you have visited Chitwan, or if you any day if you visit Chitwan, you will find the buffer zone is as rich as the core area forest. So and it has been maintained completely by the community people. So the government has given the ownership to the people out there to take care of their buffer forest. And the revenue which generates from the buffer zone goes for the like welfare for the community people out there. So, and that's a huge conservation success for Nepal. Rather, a lot of countries, India also, they have adopted this policy from Nepal. So yeah. And with that, and why it is so much of diverse, imagine when we talk about if you have been to the snow leopard trip, so you would find that Ladakh area where we go for the snow leopard expedition. So there is very arid region. And Nepal also share the same kind of habitat as well. But the mostly the wildlife we see here is on to the like windward side, which is the rainmaker side. And this is, and Tibet and Ladakh is more of the rain shadow area, so it is more arid, rocky, and that's how two different, definitely two different habitats are there. This is a very drier climate due to less rain, and of course this one with the rain, it's a very lush green places like this. So this is the Himal and the foothills which I was talking about. You can see the mountain peaks out here. So these are, this from this area it starts the foothills, and this is the peaks out here. And of course when we come more down, more bottom to the foothills, it is more like the lush green around, like the more green green cover is there. And of course, and then it has the riverine and the wetland ecosystem. So you can see the riverine forest, how thick it is, like fully, like it has so much of evergreen forest out there. And here is the wetland. So it is very difficult to find out the wetland though. But yeah, this all, and a lot of due to a lot of rivers and due to their courses, a lot of meandering forms, and those meanderings with years they form very small oxbow lakes as well. So the water body, forest coverage, the wetlands, I think in every way it is a particular habitat or a very good habitat or ecosystem to retain all this beautiful wildlife. So we can't talk about a lot of wildlife, but I would try to introduce you to few of them. And there is our the first the ghost of the mountain we call the snow leopard. So Nepal also have a good population of snow leopard, and it is estimated population in Nepal itself in that area of over like 30,000 square kilometer, like it has, which is a potential area for the snow leopard. Are and there are estimated up to 300 to 400 snow leopards which are residing out there. And even WWF and NTNC, which is a Nepal almost half government NGO. So these two organization and the Snow Leopard Trust have been working together on this snow leopard conservation and building a snow leopard community, like people who are staying around that area. And even a snow leopard has been collared for the very first time in 2013, and they have selected for the snow leopard conservation in this Annapurna conservation area, one of the conservation area. If I go back to the like so this is the place. This you can see it, it's the around the peak area of like where the Himalayas, the high elevated area. So here is the Annapurna conservation area where the snow leopard conservation has been taking place, like people are working on it. And with the snow leopard we have this beautiful teeny tiny mountain weasel, and which is like near threatened species, because and their population is declining. They live in high altitude environment as well as in the rocky tundra and the grassy woodland. And they are very small, like with the body and head it goes up to only 10 inches, and if we take the tail it might add on to 4 to 5 inches. So altogether it will come to 14 to 15 inches. It's so small. And it can grow up to 340 gram, not even 500 grams. So you can imagine the teeny tiny animals we are losing out because of habitat loss, and of course for the global warming is also a part of it. And with that mountain weasel we have this Himalayan brown bear, and the male can weigh up to almost 400 kilo. And like near about 800 plus pounds. So they are found in the alpine meadows and even in the scrub and the subalpine forest. And it's amazing to see them, though even we get to see this brown bear sometimes during our snow leopard trip in Lake, like which is in India, we do. So it's a great sighting, but we really don't have much population out there. But we don't know exactly how much population is there thriving in that area. But of course, it's very rare sighting out there. And then we have the Tibetan, I mean Himalayan wolf, and they live almost above like 4,000 meter, and Nepal holds a significant population. So with that snow leopard, the Himalayan brown bear and the Himalayan wolf, I think they take care of that habitat, the prey predator relationship, how it goes. And then if we come down a little bit, then we have this beautiful, cute red panda, the Shifu of Kung Fu Panda, the master Shifu of Kung Fu Panda. But yeah, they are very cute, very lazy. If you see this red panda, if you have been to China, like wildlife adventure in China, so if you have come across a red panda, you know that they would be lying or very curiously looking, or most of the time they are sleeping. Like they conserve their energy a lot. And this is also a very small, not even a 8 kilo. I mean, the grown up male can be of like 3 to 6 kilos. So yeah, they are pretty small as well. And their staple diet is bamboo. So imagine from the high Himalayas, when we moving down towards the foothills, there are these bamboo thickets, like where the bamboo like vegetation starts, and the understories are there. So you find this red panda in that area, but of course in the very cold places. And then we have this Himalayan siro, and this one is a hilly forest, and I mean almost an elevation of like it lives in 300 meter. So it is below the red panda, and they come down during winter because they can't live. They always stay below the snow line, and which goes up to 100 meter when it is like winter there. And it can grow up to like 140 kilos, so you can imagine the size of it. And so of course we know that the predators are there, so of course the prey beast is also there, for which they are thriving nicely out in the mountain. So yeah, next are this beautiful birds, which is the monal, and this is also the national bird of Nepal. And look at the vibrant color of their feathers, and it is amazing to see, you know, those birds of paradise. I mean, how they attract the female, doing dancing, cleaning their dance floor, or decorating their nesting area. So these monal start dancing amazingly when there is snow. Imagine this vibrant, this like metallic color reflects, and there is snow everywhere. When it is white, the floor is white, and you will find this is trying or moving around a female. Oh my gosh, I mean, this is absolutely outstanding. I mean, their dancing look like. But unfortunately, though they are still vulnerable, but unfortunately a lot of killing happens because of their feathers, and especially of their crest feathers. And this is for the tribals, it is a pride to have a feather, the crest feather on their cap. So we get, but of course all the conservation work is going on, people are understanding the importance of this. And there is another high altitude bird is chukar, and this is also same, like it's beautifully like blend in near the snow, and they feed on all these small roots, grass, carnivore. They eat a lot of like insects and stuff. So of course, and seeds as well. Sorry. And then we have this musk deer, and this musk deer is is a deer, and very unlike other deers. Actually, unlike other deer family, the male do not have antlers, rather they have this round ear, and their hearing is very sharp, as this is more like a deer. And they have extremely long canine. You can see that a deer has a canine. I mean, that itself is so fascinating. And they have a gland that produces a musk that is used in perfume. So it is an endangered species, live in an altitude of 2,400 to 4,300 meter. This is the range they live in. And when we talk about musk deer, that interesting part is that perfume, that gland they have. And being people always curious about it is to get that gland, to get that perfume. So previously, to extract that musk, like traditionally, the traders, they used to kill the deer to get the gland. But now, after a lot of conservation effort and study, it has been shown, and the study has been happened in Kathmandu Zoo, where there is a musk deer, and people have uh, even while keeping it alive, how can people extract the musk. It has been like a study is going on, and still it is a successful study. In few cases it has been found that it can be done, because you can't stop people doing, because you are getting money out of it while you are selling it. So it is difficult to stop them, but if you can make them understand that you don't need to kill the animal, you can just keep it alive, but you can extract the gland as well, the scent from the gland. That would be amazing. But thankfully, we are heading towards that success. It might take few years, but yeah, we do heading towards that. And then this is the yellow-throated martin. Looks very small, but very ferocious. It can sometimes a martin hunt down a macaque, like the rhesus macaque. They can hunt down a rhesus macaque or a bonnet macaque. I mean, they are very strong and very fierce, almost like a badger, like a honey badger attitude they have. So yeah, and then this is a little part of the all over Nepal. I mean, there are too many animals to talk about, but without Chitwan, I can't be like happy that I've told you a few about the forest and the habitat is where we visit, and where every year I go so many times and have stayed and have worked in that park for 3 years. But still, every time I step in, I feel, oh my gosh, what a beautiful forest it is. I mean, I swear I do. I mean, I kind of, I stand in the deck where our lodge is, and I just stand there and I just look to the forest, because it is straight. The core area is right opposite to the deck of our lodge, and I just stand there for a few minutes and I say that, I mean, you are beautiful. I definitely say that every time, because this forest is definitely a very special one. And so it has a coverage. So Chitwan National Park, it's one of the, I mean, it is the first national park declared in Nepal, and it has a coverage of like sal forest cover, which is of 70%. It has amazing grasslands, for which the greater one-horned rhinos are thriving there, and a riverine forest of 7% and a mixed forest of 3%. So you can see how beautiful it is. This is the Snow Peak Mountain, and then you have this Himalayan area, and then the foothills, and the foothills cover this whole riverine forest and the grassland. And there are too many rivers. There are three main rivers for which Chitwan is getting all the water source. So yeah, it's a very rich forest indeed. So, and it is the South Terai land of Nepal, South Central Terai. So this is where we are. Like, here is Kathmandu, where we get down, and from there we take a flight, 20 minutes flight for Chitwan National Park. And after the flight, we get down at the airport, and there is a 45 minutes drive from the airport to our lodge, which is very close to the national park. I would say just opposite to the national park. It's just a river in between us. And so here is the national park and how this is look like. So this one where you see the yellow dots, this is the buffer zone of the park, and these are the core area, and we take our vehicles in this part of this national park. And only 20% of the national park is open for tourism, same like India. So yeah, and we talk about Chitwan, and we have to bring the our showstopper over there is the greater one horn rhino, and it's been amazing. What a success story Nepal has shown when it comes to the rhino conservation. It's has 752 plus rhinos in all over Nepal, where Chitwan National Park holds near about 690 rhinos out there. So yeah, of course you see the rhinos in everywhere, in the grassland, in the forest, in water, and also like munching on the grazing on grasses, and a lot of birds around, of course. So yeah, having a wonderful view of the greater one-horned rhino, the endangered species. It's amazing, like to see them roaming around now, where only less than 40 were left in that area, and now it has crossed to more than like near about 700 rhinos. That's what an incredible successful conservation stories they have shown. And yes, with that, we didn't stop there. We have this beautiful Asian elephant out there, and not they are not in Chitwan, but in winter they keep on migrating through this forest. And yes, you might be able to see it in between the elephant grass, of course, because Chitwan, the grassland, when we talk about grassland of Chitwan or in Kaziranga, it is not only that there are grass. These grasses are like this elephant grass, which can be 17 to 19 feet tall. Like it can hide an elephant. So yeah, maybe your vehicle would move, and suddenly you might see the elephant is coming out. And the elephants in Chitwan are little aggressive. So not all though, but yeah, few of them are. So that's it's always better to see them from a distance. But yeah, we do have the Asian elephant, and it says that near about 25 to 30 elephants do stay in and around Chitwan. And this is the gore. I always mention that these are like the Arnold Schwarzenegger of the forest, because look at the muscle. I mean, that's amazing muscle buildup. It's kind of really like huge. It's huge. Look at the dewlap. It's almost it touches the ground. And the hump, I mean, when it walks, you can imagine that how majestic it is. It is the largest in the bovidian family. So yeah, I hope we'll get to see someday. And this is of course our hidden gem of Chitwan National Park, the Bengal tiger. And though the tiger population in Nepal has tripled since 2010. In 2022 census, it has been found there are 355 individual, and Chitwan has almost 120 plus tigers. But due to the thick habitat and this huge grassland, it is very difficult to find a tiger. But we are very lucky that some way the other trip we kind of get to see a glimpse of this beautiful, majestic cat. And of course due to like there are a lot of conservation efforts have been happening to protect the habitat and continuity of the forest, the grassland, to saving the natural corridors for which the tiger can have a free passage to move around. And maybe that's an amazing success story here as well. And sorry. And then we have, there's another cat, a beautiful cat rather, which is a leopard, elusive, and very secretive. It's very difficult to spot a leopard because in the thick forest, even if they're hiding, and they are so well camouflaged, like they have mastered in that. And it's like beautiful to see them hanging on the branches and resting. But I have actually, we have come across, let me tell you two stories, because two of the stories is very amazing out here. Is a leopard. Once there were a lot of like we were on foot in Chitwan. This is the time when I was staying there, working there. And so we were walking in the forest, and suddenly we found that there were like something is happening, like they were deer, but they were not restless, but they were trying, they something has like taken their attention, their ears were pretty alert, their tail was up, but they were not giving any alarm calls. But you can figure out something is happening, so we kind of approach little closer. And then suddenly, like from almost over our head, like two tree, like where we were standing next to two tree, they were like, suddenly something jumped from the tree and tried to get a fawn. And it was a leopard, so it just happened right in front of the eyes, like we couldn't even see it, that it was sitting just few meters, um like above and few meters away. So it was, and suddenly we felt, oh no, imagine while walking, if we would have like gone little ahead, and if we wouldn't see the deer, their attention, like their alertness. That's why we stopped there. uh, the leopard could have jumped on us, maybe not, it might not have, but this was an amazing feeling. I mean, we were like stunned for a few moments. And then Chitwan has also the sloth bear. And this sloth bear I mean, these are the only bear. They are the only bear which piggyback their cubs. And Chitwan is a good place to come across a sloth bear. But definitely when you are on a vehicle, not on foot, because I was some at one point I was like, one day I was on foot and almost I've been charged by a sloth bear. That day, I swear, I could see my heart was pounding on the ground. And I was just thinking, my guests were behind me, and I was thinking that, okay, I'm the person, like, to save it. I don't know from where I got all those power and energy. I stood with, there were the park guides. So I was just standing with a bamboo stick, and I was thinking that, okay, let's see what happens. But nobody moves. So thankfully, no one moves. But the bear just came running. It stood up, it growled, and then just went behind, like when it just moved out. But that particular few seconds when it was running, I said, okay, give me the power. I mean, I was kind of taking the sword out of the bamboo, like the bamboo stick. And I was thinking about the He-Man, the master of the universe kind of a thing. Yeah. But yeah, but it was very, very scary. But anyway, the leopard didn't do sorry, the bear didn't do anything, because we didn't move and we were pretty quiet. And it might not felt threatened because it suddenly saw us, and when we suddenly saw the bear, so we both were kind of quite trying to adjust our thing, that how to do it. Otherwise, they are fine. I mean, as long as you are on the vehicle. And then it has, because we have so many predators, and we have a good prey base in that national park as well. You get to come across different, like four species of deer actually. And mostly you come across the spotted deer, hawk deer, and the barking deer, and sambar, one of the Asia's largest deer. And I always say that the hawk deer looks like the dolphins of on the grassland, because they kind of duck themselves down and they take a leap. So you can see that from the grass, these are coming out and going back because they are shorter in height. They have short legs. And then, of course, when I sorry, when I'm talking about Chitwan, I can't just skip this two reptiles especially, which is the gharial, the one and only in the crocodile family which looks like this, which has a longer snout and they can grow up to 18 feet. That's a huge size of the croc, and they are critically endangered. Um, right now in Nepal, there are near about 260 plus individual only. And this crocodile only you can see in Nepal and India, nowhere else in the world. And they are altogether, they are not even 1400 plus like individual in the wild, so they're in a critical position, and also their population is declining. But of course breeding conservation is also there, but due to like fishing, and they are river crocs, and they're built, look at the snout, they are built for hunting the fish, and in a flowing water, in a speed flowing water, so they kind of open their mouth, they relax, they stay like that. And because their jaw has a lot of, like, they can sense it high sensitivity is there, so any kind of flickering thing they find, they just sling, I mean they just sharply move their neck and they catch the fish like a slingshot. So yeah, and sometimes they get caught in the fishing net, so and the fishing net get entangled around the snout, and of course they need to breathe or eat. And that's why the mining, the pollution due to mining, that is another cause which is happening. We are losing this crocodile. And also because of global warming, change in the course of river, and of course mining, it definitely ruins the riverbed, the ecosystem of the riverbed. And they lay eggs on those mud flats. And of course when it flood comes, because of mining, all the pebbles and big stones are out. When the flood comes, it brushes out everything on the banks. So yeah, but still, a lot of incentivization, awareness campaigns and everything happening both in India and Nepal by WWF and other organizations to protect these like beautiful species out there. So yeah, with the gharial, so yeah, one more thing, like the way the number is declining or the way the number is still there. I mean, if you just need to, before it get extinct, it is amazing to see this wonderful creature in the wild. And then we have the mugger, which is a freshwater crocodile that also found in Chitwan. Sometimes you might find that the mugger, the freshwater crocodile, and the gharial is almost sharing the same mud bank for basking. And especially winter is a very good time to see them, like they can be for hours. The mugger doesn't go into the water quickly, but if the gharial sense any disturbance in the water, they immediately go down, I mean get in the river. And then we have the king cobra. Though king cobra is not a cobra, how they have named, but yeah, you get to see this beautiful, majestic snake. And then you have a lot of freshwater turtles out there in Chitwan. And there are a few critically endangered turtle species as well. And just for an information for you all, that all the freshwater turtle, I mean, we know that how the sea turtle are like facing all these problems due to pollution in the ocean. But the freshwater turtle, there are near about like 360, near about 360 freshwater turtles around the world, and they are like facing the threat. Almost 70% of the turtles are facing like threatened, they are or threatened towards extinction they are facing, because they're so vulnerable and susceptible to all pollutions and everything. So yeah, with that, we have another critically endangered species, and if we get to see it, it would be like amazing. No matter how many times I've seen this, every time I see this dolphin, I feel happy that okay, their population is still thriving. Again, it's a critically endangered species. We have less than 2,000 individual in the world, and you only get to see this Nepal and in India in this river system. And they are blind dolphin. Imagine all this river water, they become so murky that they really don't need the use of their eyes, so eventually they have lost their vision. So it's only the echolocation where they communicate, and of course they catch their prey, and they don't get in a pod, so you will see very individual, like one or two dolphin or three maximum, like coming out a little bit from the water. But yeah, that Nepal, I mean in Chitwan National Park, even this critically endangered species is also thriving. And when there is too many different habitats, not only all over in Nepal, but in Chitwan National Park itself. So I think this bar-headed geese, like they are very famous for flying extremely high. And when I say extremely high, that means during their migration, they cross over the peak of Mount Everest. Imagine, like these geese can fly over Mount Everest. And also they cover a lot, like almost 1,000 miles in a day. So in both way, they are amazing flyers. I mean, they have amazing capacity to, uh, to sustain all this. I mean, sustain themselves in this harsh weather. And yeah, Chitwan has too many birds, near more than 650 birds you get to see in Chitwan. So if you love birding, I think this place is definitely like a birding hotspot, especially during winter, during the migration. And so these are few birds out there, and a lot of eagles, and there are a lot of accipator, like a lot of birds of prey are also found. And this is another critically endangered species, the Bengal florican. So yeah, with that, oh, and this is an endemic species, which is the spiny babbler. And with that, one of my favorite are the great hornbills. If you have been to Borneo, or if you have been to India, I don't know. So in Kaziranga and over here in Nepal, you get to see them. And the best part about this huge bird is when they take off, like when they fly, that beautiful sound which comes from their feather, like the wings, is absolutely stunning. Like even if you don't get to see it over the tree line, if they are flying, you can hear that sound from there. And also their call is also like bonk bonk, like a horn, car horn is blowing. So yeah, that's another beautiful bird we get to see there. And so all these animals we come across is by the vehicle safari. So we have a 4x4 vehicle. It's an open vehicle, and we take a safari. You see the track here. Um, so yeah, this is almost in summer. This is the end of March. Though my photo doesn't do the justice, the forest looks much more greener. So yeah, we get into the forest with this 4x4 vehicle, and with the river. Through the river we use a boat. It's a rowing boat, no machine, so that we don't make any sound. And I think that's the most serene and subtle safari we do, because it's so quiet around. It's a beautiful feeling altogether, and especially after a very bumpy drive on the track. And then we do walk on those buffer zone area, and we get amazing bird watching, and we focus on those little things in the forest which we generally miss out during our vehicle safari or boat safari. And so you see over here, here is the rhino where my cursor is. So it's amazing to watch them like so close on your foot and just doing nothing. The rhino was relaxed. It was grazing, munching on the fresh grass over there. So yeah, this is how we kind of explore all this forest out here. And then, of course, our presence, we cannot avoid talking about WWF. And it's been amazing that how much we can be a part of this beautiful organization as well as their conservation efforts. So it's been almost 31 years now. WWF have been constantly putting their effort in this country, and we see a lot of conservation success, just like the snow leopard, the tiger, rhino, the gharial, and of course there are Bengal floric and even few birds. So and mostly for WWF in India and Nepal, they are working on the landscape. So when they are working on the landscape, and I think this is a brilliant thing to come up with, because a landscape cover a lot of things, like a different ecosystem, even the people out here. And conservation doesn't happen without the community support. So bringing those community into conservation, I think this is the very good step for, to protect the endangered species, or just to bring back those species which are in the verge of extinctions. For example, few turtles, and as well as these gharials are there. So yeah, of course, and all of your support to, like, you are signing up with NHA means you are supporting WWF. So I would say that all of your conservation support as really showing something good, like still for which we still are sustaining, that we could see the animals, we could see the wildlife, and just it's amazing to see them from a distance and to observe their natural behavior in the natural habitat. And I think this is a priceless feeling and the most precious thing you can like the memories you can have. It's just incredible. So yeah, and Nepal would be always beautiful and happening for the Mount Everest and the Himalayas, and it's been amazing. And this is one of my beautiful memory I had during a hike out there. Is one, there was a, I mean, the sunset was happening and the moon was rising. I mean, you can see the golden mountain and the beautiful silver shade of moon in that country. I think in that way Nepal is definitely one of the very beautiful country I have visited. And yes, not only that, we don't end up in Nepal, but we take a flight from Nepal to Bhutan, and you know what? You get to see the whole Himalayan range. And I think that's how we end our, like, move to our other trip. And let me end my webinar out here. I still feel that I have so much to talk about this country or about the animals. I mean, I I just couldn't mention the beautiful painted bat, uh, which is orange and black. But anyway, we some other day maybe I'll come up with the small creatures of this national park or of Nepal. That would be amazing. But thank you so much for hanging on with me, and I'm ready to take up questions, Kendall.
Great. Thank you so much, Arpita. For anyone who has a question who has not submitted one yet, you can do that in your control panel under the questions field, and we'll probably take questions for the next 5 or 10 minutes. All right. And Arpita, I have to say, you brought back a lot of memories for me, because my last NatHab trip was the Nepal Bhutan trip, and I just had the greatest time. I have to say, it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. And Chitwan is truly unique and
Yes.
magical. So yeah. Okay, first few questions were about the first few species you spoke about. Someone was wondering if there's predation among snow leopards, brown bears, and wolves.
Predation?
Mm-hmm.
Can you just ask me the question again?
Um, the question is if there's predation among them. I'm wondering if maybe the person is wondering if there's maybe competition between them or if they,
Ah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, I got it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's a nice question. Actually, competition between them when we talk about, because they are sharing the same kind of habitat, but not predation in between them, because there are a lot of other prey based, like the Himalayan thar is there, ibex is there, so there are a lot of preys around. So, and they kind of don't share the same territory, but it has not been seen that snow leopard is killing a Himalayan wolf. And the brown bear definitely lives in a different area. They only come down near the snow line during winter.
Mm-hmm. And while we don't see snow leopards on our Nepal Bhutan trip, someone is wondering if you are in that area looking for snow leopards. What are the odds of seeing one?
So if first of all, if you need to see snow leopard in Nepal, you have to make an effort to go that Annapurna Conservation Area or Dolpo, which is like all hike. I mean, mostly there are 2 3 days hike you have to do, where no vehicles and anything go. So it is a very inaccessible place to just to see snow leopards out there. So yeah, if you want to reach there, there is a place called Dolpo or Rara National Park, where there are chances of snow leopards are there. But
Mm-hmm.
it's mostly of hiking in the mountain.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we do offer a snow leopards trip in India. So if someone is
Right.
interested in
It's
seeing
much
them, they can.
actually. Kendall, have you been to India's snow leopard trip?
I haven't yet. No, there's several people from the office have, and they've just absolutely loved it.
Yeah. So why I asked you, because Nepal do have a lot of animals, but because we share almost a lot of like same habitat, so it is a lot more like all this masked deer and all. We find it in India as well, and snow leopard trip. Why we have started, like, it is easier in India because there are a lot of like accessible paths, like you go where the snow leopards move around, there are villages, there are roads, so it is much more easier. And rather, most of the time, like 98% times, you come across a snow leopard out there.
Mm-hmm.
So there are not much, so anybody can do that. If you don't have any problem of altitude sickness, then anyone at any age, you can do the snow leopard trip, which is difficult for Nepal
Mm-hmm.
because they don't have a proper like route for that. You really have to have those hikings and then staying in a tent, again hike, and then you reach those places.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of the elevations, someone is wondering for this Nepal Bhutan trip, what are the elevations and do people have issues with altitude
Okay.
sickness?
Till date, no issues has happened. I mean, till date, so many from I have been doing it from 2018, so never happened. And the highest elevation we do is 10,100, 10,000, near about 10,160 feet,
Mhm. Yeah, I have to say from
which
my
is Tiger
experience,
Nest.
yeah, my experience on the trip, no one had any problem at
Yeah,
all. We take it pretty slowly and we kind of build up to that. So it's
and yeah, very rightly said, because we give a lot of time to acclimatize with the altitude, and the first we don't go like 10,000 on a very first day. So
Mhm,
gradually we increase the elevation, so your body get very much well used to with the altitude.
mhm.
And yeah, 10,000 feet is the highest elevation we cover in Nepal, Bhutan.
And what are the temperatures like on this trip?
So if you're coming in winter, then in Chitwan, Kathmandu would be cooler. Chitwan can give you like 5 degrees Celsius,
Mhm.
4 to 5 degrees Celsius when is the peak winter, like it's very cold, and that is also at night. But in the morning, you will get 14, 15 degrees Celsius, like early morning. And as soon as the sun rise, the fog lifts up, it is 18, like that. And in summer, it can go up to 38 degrees Celsius in the afternoon with lots of, I mean, with good almost 80% humidity in
Mm.
Chitwan. And then when we go to Bhutan, it's almost very very good. Like in the afternoon, 24 to 26 degree Celsius, and at night it drops. It can drop up to 7, 5 to 7 degree
Mhm.
Celsius. That's the coolest you get.
So back to wildlife in Chitwan, how often would you see tigers, leopards, or sloth bears?
If I have to think about three, then sloth bear chances are better than the leopard, and tiger chances are better than leopard. So yeah, you come across tiger, but it is very rare to come across a leopard there in
Mhm.
Chitwan.
Another question is if sloth bears and brown bears live in the same area.
No, no. Sloth bear is from the Terai region. Like it's more on the broadleaf forest area, the riverine
Mhm.
areas. But brown bears live in high mountain, like the Himalayan brown bears.
We've got two more questions here before I'll call it. Next question is someone's wondering what the king cobra eat.
So the king, the king cobra ate other snakes. That's the Latin name of the king cobra, like Ophiophagus hana. Ophium means snake, phagus means who eats the snake. And apart from that, whatever on the ground or on the tree, since they feed on birds, small reptiles like monitor lizards. Sometimes they get other all those garden lizards, and especially the rat snake, the checkered killback, sometimes even cobra they feed on. Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. So this last question, you had mentioned winter migration. Someone's wondering when the winter migration is. When do they return as well?
Okay. So if you want to, for every other animal, it's absolutely fine. But if you are a birder, like if you are interested in birding, then I would say visiting Chitwan between January to March would be a great time.
Mhm. All right. Well, that is it for all the questions. We got to all of them today. Thank you so much, Arpita, for rejoining us after your power outage. And I really appreciate you staying up late, as always, to present for us. This was really fantastic. I'm going
My
to hand it back
pleasure.
over to you for any closing comments you want to make.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for asking questions. I really love this question answer session every time. And again, I'm really sorry I couldn't help it. I had to like stop and rejoin. But thank you for hanging on, and have a great day, all of you. And thank you so much, Kendall, for
Oh, of
hosting so
course.
nicely.
My
And you have a
pleasure.
great day.
I love chatting with you, Arpita. Thank you so much again for taking the time to present for us tonight in your, well, I guess early morning in your neck of the woods. And thank you to everyone who tuned in and stuck with us today. I appreciate you joining us, and be sure to join us tomorrow for our next Daily Dose of Nature. You can check out the rest of the week's lineup, including registration links, on our website at nathab.com/webinars. If you're interested in traveling to Nepal and Bhutan with us, you can give us a call at the number you see on the screen or visit our website. Someone will be happy to chat with you about that. We did record today's presentation, and we'll have the replay available on our website soon. And with that, I will conclude the webinar. Goodbye, everybody. Good night, Arpita.
Good night.